Today in Grow a Garden in Roblox, I want to talk to you guys about how I think the developers can make Grow a Garden great again. In the beginning of this video, I'm going to talk to you roughly about the concept, and then I'm going to tell you a list of the things we're not going to include and talk about, and then I'm going to get into a list of like 7 or 8 concepts, 7 or 8 ideas I have to make Grow a Garden great again. If this sounds interesting to you, and if you want to make Grow a Garden great again, go ahead and hit the red subscribe button, become part of the first 300k OGs on the channel, and let's get into the video. So what am I going to talk about in this video? I'm going to talk about concepts and things that developers can do moving forward to improve the events, improve the experience, and make things generally better for everybody. And what am I not going to talk about in this video? I am not going to suggest anything that takes away from the game. I'm not going to suggest removing trading. I'm not going to suggest resetting shekels. I'm not going to suggest anything that takes away anything from the players, the things they already have, because people are reluctant to have things taken away from them. That will be for a future video in the future. For now, I'm just going to talk about things that developers can do to add to the game to make it better. And before I start listing these things, something that developers can do to get ahead of the game, to prepare people for these things, is to actually take the time to create content on social media to let the greater player base know, guys, we're listening to you. We hear your complaints, and we're going to make changes starting on this day, starting on this update. Now, why am I making this video? I have made multiple pieces of content over the past couple of weeks talking about the state of Grow a Garden. And in those videos, I have received, no hyperbole, no lie, thousands of comments of people talking about what they miss about Grow a Garden, what they hate about Grow a Garden, what they want changed in Grow a Garden, and what they're looking for in Grow a Garden. And I'm taking all those comments because I read them all, man. That's my job. I read them all. And I'm distilling them down into this list of things, problems, and solutions for the greater Grow a Garden community, or the ones that take the time to comment on my videos. So developers, please take the time to make content, to use your social media platforms to get ahead of this and to bring confidence to the Grow a Garden community that we're listening to you, we hear your feedback, and we want to help you and improve the game for you. Now, I'm taking all of these comments and this feedback from a couple of specific videos. The first of which was this one here, I am so disappointed in Grow a Garden, where I talked about all the things they had done wrong in the current event, but also from this one here, where I ranked every Grow a Garden event. A lot of people gave a lot of reasons for why they loved certain events or hated certain events, and I started to see some common trends. And those common trends and what people loved or hate about events are why I'm making this video. And the first common trend that I saw in the Grow a Garden community about the events, about events they loved and events they didn't like, was that people didn't like or don't like standing around and waiting. They really enjoyed events where you had the opportunity to be an active participant in the event. The Zen event was one great example. People loved the fact that they could use Kadamas or Tenshizuru to farm up the rewards and to hand them in over and over constantly. It gave them something to do actively, and people really felt that they were participating in the event. The fall event also had a similar feel for that, where every 5 minutes you were able to submit your fruits to receive your rewards, and people enjoyed the active aspect of that. To couple with that, people do not like the amount of waiting we have to do in this current event. How the rewards are only here every hour. How parts of the event they want to do are rotating hours at a time. The waiting, people do not like that. They love that. When it comes to their garden, they love the fact that their garden grows while they're offline. But when they're online, they want to do stuff. They want to be doing things and be active in the game. And this is reflected in all of the popular games that are really holding on to player bases now. Games like 99 Nights in the Forest, games like Steel and Brain Rot, games like Blocks Fruits, etc. are actively played. And when you're in the game, you're doing things. Grow a Garden is more laid back and more casual, or should be. We'll talk about that. But when it comes to the events that get people excited, they really want to dig into the event and do it. So for the developers, consider including more active elements and active ways of participating and active ways of farming and acquiring things in the event. And that bleeds perfectly into point number 2. Point number 2, you must keep in mind who your target audience is. Your target audience are young kids. Young kids who do not want to figure out complicated things. Many children are between the ages of 4, 5, 6, all the way up to young teenagers. Many of them are capable of understanding complicated things, but most of them are not. You must remember who your target audience is. Your target audience are young children and the parents who are there playing with and supporting their young children. As such, many of the best, most beloved events in the game were among the most simple, among the most easy to understand. We're talking about the night event, which was hand-in moonlit and bloodlit fruits. We're talking about the busy bee event, which was hand-in pollinated fruits. And you may hear comments, developers, on the internet of people complaining, oh, this is the same old, and you're not being innovative enough. However, the sheer number of young audience members who have left the game because the game is just too complicated for them to understand is staggering. The amount of people who confirmed with me and agreed with me that things like the cooking event were just too complicated for young people to understand are staggering. And the simplicity of the game's structure is not the only thing I want to talk about when it comes to understanding who your target audience is. I need you to understand that your target audience is a young audience, and the young audience does not care about the value of things. They don't care that a certain pet is more valuable than the others. All they care about is acquiring the things they want to acquire and doing so relatively easily. This is coming from the man who has made countless pet value videos. I want you, me personally, I want you to never, ever, ever consider how valuable you want a pet to be in trades in any decision you make regarding any update moving forward. I want you to make sure that a young audience member will be able to understand the events, be able to acquire things in the event with a reasonable, completely reasonable chance of acquiring these things in the event, and be excited about the fact that they grabbed the divine pet, that they grabbed the transcendent pet, that they managed to acquire the transcendent plant, etc., etc. Never again take into consideration the trading market or the trading system, and only ever understand you want to give young audience members a really good chance and a really good opportunity of acquiring really cool things in this game. And never again institute a system where you go to a reward shop, like in this Halloween event, that's only here once an hour and is empty, completely empty. Kids do not want to go and finally, but yes, the shop is here. I go to the shop and there's nothing in stock. You're just discouraging them from playing your game. Let's put all that aside. I think I expressed that aspect of this game pretty clearly. Now there's a third part, and a lot of people express this in the comments of my videos, and that could be because I talked about this concept in the videos and people were also excited about the concept, and when it didn't happen, they were disappointed. I feel when it comes to events, doesn't have to be every event, but definitely seasonal events, you need to take the time, take the effort, hire a developer who's really good at this kind of thing to change this map and make it decorated when an event occurs. You dropped the ball in Halloween. You could have made this place stunning, exciting for Halloween updates, and you failed. Because right now, this doesn't feel like Halloween at all, in the slightest. When it comes to Christmas coming up, you have the opportunity to do something really special with this map. Covered in snow, make the ground bumpy to walk up and down, have a North Pole somewhere, have penguins and polar bears and ice flows, and who knows what you want to do. You have the opportunity to decorate it wonderfully. If you have a space event, you can turn the surface of the ground into the moon. Little asteroids and pits in there, you know what I mean? If this is an underwater event, you can make us be underwater, swimming 24/7 in the game, and have seaweed and corals and all sorts of other decorations. You have the opportunity to really change this boring, bland map when it comes to events. And that will really start to add the feel of the theme and make it look like you guys actually are putting effort into things if you change the map. Something I really think you should seriously consider adopting. Also, audience, if you're still watching at this point, comment down below and mention the Watch Squad. I want to hear from my Watch Squad members. And if you are a Watch Squad member and you've made it this far into the video, feel free to comment down below and agree or disagree with anything I'm talking about, any of these points, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And also give your ideas. Now, let's continue on with this conversation. In this conversation, we're not taking things away. We're not taking people's shekels away to try and fix the economy. We're not taking people's pets away or pet trading away. I want to continue to add things to this game because I don't think people want things removed from them. So what I would like to see added into this game are just strictly better rewards. Some of the rewards, some of the things we can acquire in this update were quite good. The Mummy, a fantastic example of something really cool in the event. The Headless Horseman is the single best thing, best pet specifically, you've added in this game since the Red Kitsune, because it has power crept the game a little bit, and now people want the Headless Horseman to get the Nightmare mutation instead of the Rainbow mutation. I think that's fantastic. Has it rendered the pet mutation machine kind of obsolete? Yes. This gives you the opportunity to put some mutations in the pet mutation machine that are different than these, that provide some more interesting effects. I mean, we don't really need Golden or Rainbow anymore because we've got Nightmare. So you might want to actually revamp this machine a little bit and make it interesting for people again. But continue to add rewards into this game that are better than previous rewards that we've had. People were excited in the prehistoric update because the Bone Blossom was just better than the Candy Blossom, and people were excited about that. People were also excited about the Maple Resin because it was better than the Bone Blossom. Not calling it the Maple Blossom, kind of a fail. That's kind of a marketing fail right there. I mean, people have blossoms in their brains when it comes to grow a garden. The Candy Blossom into the Bone Blossom. The next transcendent plant you make in here that is better than the Bone Blossom should be called the Something Blossom. Continue to release rewards in this game that get people excited about acquiring them. And then on top of that, reiterating back to what I said previously, do not concern yourself with something's rarity or something's trade value. That should not be part of your calculus. And a way that you can make these rewards good for people and more interesting for people is to bring back previous rewards into the reward structure of the events. There was a time we were able to acquire blood kiwis. I never would have had one if not for the event that allowed us to reacquire blood kiwis and blood owls and night eggs and all those kinds of things. So many people do not have access to lots of the old rewards because they weren't there at the time. And you will bring in new people, because bringing in new people should be one of your goals, developers. A good way to do that is to say to people, again, using your social media platforms to tell people, let them know we're bringing this back, we're bringing that back. In this coming update, we're slipping in some of these types of rewards. Keep your eye out in this next update. We might be bringing back old rewards. It will rekindle the excitement for a lot of people. Should you be concerned about what this pet or that pet or this pet is worth? No. Again, I will say that over and over again. Don't make decisions about trade values. Make decisions about what your young audience will be excited about and be excited to play. Speaking about trading, having said all that, you want to help move this game away from being jokingly referred to as grow a pet, you add seed and cosmetic trading, and you don't concern yourself with whatever anything is valued. If you're not going to take trading away from people, if you're going to allow them to continue to trade things in this game, if that is something you guys have decided as a developer group, you'd rather as well go all in and allow people to trade anything and everything in this game, to allow people to have access to anything and everything in this game, to express themselves with the creativity of their gardens. If you are concerned about what some of the OGs would say about this game, I want you to know that many of those OGs, it's a great chance they're not playing the game right now. But you know what? Who would play the game right now? New players or recent players who have never had the chance at those things. They would play the game for that. Because I feel like we should worry less about the people who want to gatekeep and clutch onto things and worry more about increasing the amount of people in this game that can enjoy things. Because if, for me, for example, I have these beautiful, massive bone blossom trees, and I could gatekeep. I could be like, no one can ever have the bone blossom tree. But as the game continues to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle, I'll be left alone with my bone blossom trees and no game to play. And the final thing I think the developers can do in future updates, because they got a bad rep, really bad rep in the last 2 or 3 weeks, is to tone down on the obvious Robux money grabs. In this game, you can spend Robux on pretty much anything and everything, right? You can spend Robux on anything in the gear shop, anything in the egg shop, anything in the seed shop, right? If something's not in stock, I can actually buy it for Robux. That's in every single shop, the seed shop, everywhere. But the problem is, it's become too obvious now. The attempts at money have become too obvious now. Putting in the Great Pumpkin seed in this shop and not having it stocked because you set the percentage chance too low for days and days and days and almost a week. I actually think it was a week. I don't think it ever went in the shop for a week. Is, to many people, an attempt at an obvious money grabbing scam, right? Putting the availability of a pet in the shop only for Robux that provides a mutation that only this thing does, it's too blatant, too obvious. Putting seeds and pets and gear and cosmetics in the shop that only appears once an hour and has rarely the things in stock, it's too obvious of an attempt to get people to buy those things for Robux. You gotta pull back on that. You gotta make it subtle again, have it in the game, give everyone the opportunity to spend money to go through things quicker. But the obvious pay to win stuff, your reputation is being damaged. And if you don't do something about that, it's going to get worse. Do I feel that all of the things I've mentioned in this video will make Grow a Garden great again? I feel it's a step in the right direction. I feel it will really get people excited about the game and allow younger audiences to play the game and acquire really cool rewards, whether it is new rewards that are just better than our old stuff, or access some of the old rewards they never could get access to, and being able to trade to acquire those rewards, or actively farm events to acquire those rewards, and the events are not too complicated, and they're actively farmable. Like I said, all of these things will put things in the right direction to help make Grow a Garden great again. Do I think that's enough? No. I've personally expressed that the basic game loop structure is damaged. And again, look, let me just zoom in over here. Everyone in my server right now, quintillion, 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 sextillion. The economy is broken, but to fix it, we have to take things away from players. And this video was not talking about taking things away from players. So maybe in a future video, I can talk about that concept, how I might need to do something damaging to people in the short term to make a better game for the long term. Because you do not want this to be a flash in the pan. You want Grow a Garden to be a consistent, amazing game from now for many years. Much like games like Brookhaven, much like games, all sorts of wonderful games on Roblox. But for the time being, I think that by simplifying, making great rewards, decorating the map, allowing people access to old rewards, and or allowing people to trade for old rewards will help to bring new and recent players back into the game. So hopefully you guys found this video useful. Comment down below with your thoughts on what I've said and what you'd like to add to those thoughts. And if you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. Become part of the first 300K OGs on the channel. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.